Wanderer, The Ultimate Hippie Trail Journey. It's a great read. I have a ball reading it, and I think you will too. And we think it's going to make a very fine week by week series, if you will. TV, movies. Let's make it happen. Join us. Week 44 starts out with me approaching my birthday and living the Banares life, grooving with it. Eventually going through my birthday, the incredible bright red sunsets, blood red each night, and then finally having to leave and go off towards Delhi on my way west. Delhi because I need to get visas, etc. And then from Delhi, I make my way through to Lahore, crossing the Indian border to Pakistan, and on towards Peshawar, the last city in Pakistan. This is week 44. Let's talk about the particulars. Let's get an overview of the incredible architecture of the city of Varanasi, also known as Banares. The ghats, the burning bodies, in the night, all night. The Buddhist stupa, the intricate religion of the Hindus. More of the same. Varanasi. Behind me are actually the dark rose-colored beads that I bought from the guy on the side of the road in Kathmandu. They were restrung by my wife, Pamela, after I got back and gave them to her as a gift. But in my journal, I write, I got those groovy beads in Kathmandu, the dark pink rose quartz ones, restrung by a sadhu cat that I sit with by the Ramesh Ghat. The beads were still tied on a dirty string when offered to me on the street very early in the morning by the dirty, bedraggled country peasant sitting with his small daughter on the street. I gave the sadhu 3 of the 24 beads in exchange for the restringing work. He uses a thick, dark green string to make many items which he sells to eke out a subsistence-type living of sorts, and he offered to do a custom job with the cord. It came up pretty good. An aside, my wife didn't think it was that great ultimately, and she restrung it. In fact, she recently restrung them again. I saw English Deborah from Kathmandu, again here in Banares, and she had purchased some rose quartz beads herself. But when she compared them with the beads of mine, they were literally pale in comparison to the deep red rose. And she sighed in admiration of mine. I feel I have a bit of a treasure. And it was tough to lose those 3 beads. This crazy Aussie, Paul Smith, and I blow his Afghani shit each day by the ghats at the Ganges. Don is here with Paula, the beautiful, vivacious little Chinese-American girl from New York City. She's like a character out of a movie, flower drum song, very American, very New York, yet Chinese. It's quite a crew here. We groove about living in the government-run youth hostel together. All these hilarious characters keep happening past here in Banares. I don't really dig blowing dope much. It's become foul to me, but I keep on smoking due to the persuasion of the society around me. I still don't have a lady. I'm getting old, 23-year-old now. My health is really good considering the Westerners around me here are seemingly all dying of hepatitis and other ailments. My fluting feels very good. There is a good-looking Dutch lady in the dormitory here. She keeps walking in and out topless. I like it. I'm seeing a lot of people I know here. It's strange. Now the remains of the hog farm, yes, of Woodstock fame, is out front of the tourist bungalow in a bus. The Dutch chick is with them. I ran into the hog farm in Amsterdam when I first arrived in Europe on my journey. And I know it from Woodstock, and now they're here? Wow, they were the folks that led that incredible evening with the milk chocolate yogurt pudding drink, blah, for the birthday celebration in Amsterdam. Really cool. When you hit Banares, really your mind gets reblown again. It's just an incredible experience. There's so many things, the smells, the sights, the activity, the noise, the sounds, the river. It's just so incredible. The burning bodies, it's awesome and it overwhelms you. You need to get off those streets. I had been there before on my way to Kathmandu and coming again. It was like, wow, I'd only been a couple of days, but this time I was in Banares for an indeterminate time. I wasn't going to stay forever, but I was there to be there for a while and just to hang out in Banares in the summertime. Day and night have been just incredible for me here in Banares. Each evening, we have blood red sunsets. Yes, night after night, they're driving me crazy. We stay in the Hindu holy city in the colors of red that I've never seen before and probably will never see again. Deep, dark, blood red skies that shock my very being and seem to scream out to me evening after evening. This place is just full of an intensity of spirit like no place else I've ever been. It is August 4, 2021, 50 years today. I was in Banares in India on the holy Ganges River, filled with people coming, pilgrims from all places, holy people hanging out and just living the holy Indian experience. And I was there, right there, meditating, moving around, meeting with these sadhus, seeing a lot of foreigners. I was living in a tourist place. And it's amazing to think back, all these years have passed. And it's vivid to me, though, to think about those days. I love Varanasi, the modern name for Banares, very much. What a groove just to sit by the holy Ganges River and to climb around its wondrous catacombs. I'm so excited to be going home, though. Beautiful. I'm going home. This is it. My head is exploding. I'm such a kid at 23 years old. It was a wonderful birthday yesterday in Banares. It's now the 5th of August, 1971, and I'm on the road again, en route to Delhi. And guess what? I'm traveling on a train going west. Man, that old Dylan song comes to my mind. And it was when it came to my mind when I was trucking east across Turkey on a train. Wowee, here I come. The trains are cheap, the trains are convenient, but they can be a hassle. But I'm going to make it across India somehow, and most of it is going to be on this crazy train. Here I come, Delhi. I need my visas and stuff to keep on going towards the west. Delhi is emblematic of many things, and behind me is the Red Fort. It was built by Muslim khans and shahs many years ago, but it's still an emblem of Delhi. And here in Delhi, there are really an abundance of Westerners, many on the train coming over here, and in New Delhi in particular. It's a bizarre place. It's an English-type city in a not English country next to a truly Indian city of Old Delhi, but it's laid out like an English town. I now sit in a strange place in New Delhi where I'm staying. It's like a guest house. A nice woman owns it, an Indo-British lady. At this point of my journey, I'm feeling pretty good. Just kind of grooving along, having a great time. Although on the train while I was coming along, a fella dropped the top level of a bunk bed on my head. It was on a strap and it bopped into me, and that was a crush of the brain. Eventually, when I get to Delhi, I go to see a movie. It was kind of interesting to see a movie. And of course, I'm like the only American, only foreigner in the movie show. It's basically for Indian folks. It was an English language movie at a theater called The Secret of Santa Victoria with Anthony Quinn. It was all right, and the first English language film I had seen in 5 months since Israel. The Indians were a freaky audience. To begin the movie, they had about 10 really far commercials, done pretty well for very fancy Western type Indians. The Indians' reaction to Western storybook emotions exhibited in the movie seemed inappropriate, childish, and interesting to me. At the end, they all stood up as the Indian flag appeared on the screen, blowing in the wind, and the national anthem played, Jai Hind. At a movie show? I get a couple of visa passport type things taken care of in New Delhi. That's where the embassies and things are at. And while I'm on my way out of there, I see a gentleman on the street selling some trinkets and things. And I'm thinking, I got to buy a few things. Well, I go up to him and I check him out, and he's got these Sikh bands. These are the bands that Sikh women wear. And for some reason, I thought they were kind of cool, but they were a little crude. One of them was quite beautiful, though. It was more like a fine silver piece, but I looked at it, it was too small, the only one I liked. Well, the salesman looked at me and said, oh, no problem, mister. He takes my hand and he squeezes it and somehow gets this piece to come right over onto my arm. I can't get it off. I'm forced to buy it, somewhat reasonable price, and I buy a couple more, which I take with me on my travels. One I still have to this day. Another you will hear that I use to get myself out of a pressure situation with the locals. But I'm on my way. After leaving Delhi, I've got to get myself to the border and get myself somehow across Pakistan towards Afghanistan, which is my goal and gets me towards my home. Although again, not in a rush. Next week is week 45. It starts out in the town of Peshawar, the last major city in Pakistan in the north there. And I head into the tribal lands and head back towards the Khyber Pass and on my way through to the Kabul Gorge. Well, something happened on the way. The only shoes I had, my rubber sandal, it broke, and now I'm barefoot. I get into Kabul, I have an incredible experience, my first night in Kabul, and really find out maybe I am kind of like a saint. At least I think maybe I know God a little bit now, and things start to happen and unfurl. I wind up meeting a beautiful lady, and I basically spend the rest of the week in Kabul. It's time for Afghanistan again. We'll see you next week for the details and the fun. The Wander is a great read. It uses something we call the active voice. It's a hell of a lot of fun. You feel like you're right there experiencing it with our wanderer. And follow our route of the journey on our website at wandererbook.com. The mighty river is bloated. Some of the buildings facing the river are flooded to the second story. You cannot even see all the way across the river, so it has the effect of looking out to sea or an ocean, if not a lake. but it's just this mighty overflowing river that is a collection of the runoff from the Himalayas through the many tributaries flowing into the Ganges. The clerk at the front desk said that this is a near record flood of the Ganges. The river hasn't been this high since 1947. The ghats are filled with an endless stream of people, natives, pilgrims, sadhus, the holy men of India. I look out in amazement at all the activity. Many of the pilgrims line up for a ritual dip in the Ganges. The four of us enjoy a good buzz as we watch the continuous procession of humanity mingle about at the riverside and on the great expansive steps of the ghats.